I'm plowing through these vegetables quickly to make a big batch of vegetable stock because today I'll be turning these green lentils into this, a spiced lentil soup from Gordon Ramsay's Bread Street Kitchen Cookbook. As always, stay tuned till the end where I'll give a taste rating out of 10 and my 10-star PETA rating based on ingredients, time, cleaning, and recipe instructions, so we can find out, is it worth it? So let's get cooking and learn something. As you see in the background, I've still been working on this vegetable stock, and this is easy to do at home, but you could just buy vegetable stock. I'll put this on the stove to simmer for just 45 minutes, strain, and then reduce just a bit, and it will be good to go, as easy as that. For the lentil soup, I'll start by gathering my ingredients so I can get my mise en place organized. I'll need some olive oil, red onion, my favorite onion, garlic, ground cumin, paprika, ground coriander, but I just have the seeds so I'll have to grind these, curry powder, turmeric, tomatoes, a red chili, a bit of coriander, tomato puree, and pui lentils, which I could not find. So I'll be using these green lentils and hope it all works out. Vegetable stock, some natural yogurt. So cutting board and knife are ready. I'll start with everything that needs to be chopped. I'll need 250 grams of this red onion. After I peel this, I want to see how close I am to that 250 grams, and I'm really just shy. It's probably not a huge deal, but I want to be accurate. I love when recipes are in grams. This soup will be blended, so a rough chop on everything will be perfect. And these red onions are good. I have my 250 grams, very quick, onto the mise tray. 2 garlic cloves, Hulk smash it, and then chop, chop, chop. This looks good, and onto the mise tray. It's tomato time, and I'm getting smarter, so I will weigh these before I cut them. And it looks like I'll need just a hair more. These tomatoes are supposed to be quartered, which makes me think that Gordon wanted Roma tomatoes, but these globe tomatoes, I think that's what they are, were the best thing I could find, even though they aren't even great. But I'll break these down into eighths instead of a quarter. Into my 9th pan and onto the tray. Next up, the devil's fruit, some chili. I'll put on the black gloves for this. I've had reactions to chili on my skin before, so I always get my hand prophylactic on. We'll just need a rough chop on this as well. And I start second guessing myself here if I should use this whole chili. And I'm gonna be a baby and not use the whole thing. And into the mise. Board is out of the way and I'll measure out the spices. These are all going in at the same time, so I'll put them in the same ramekin. 4 teaspoons of ground cumin, slightly sweet, warming flavor. Half a teaspoon ground turmeric, a potent spice, peppery and earthy. 1 teaspoon paprika, smoky, sweet, and peppery. And that's the last of my little dime bag of paprika here. Anyone else feel a sense of accomplishment when you use all of a spice instead of waiting for it to get old and just throw it out? Curry powder, just a 1/4 teaspoon, which I find a bit annoying, I don't know why. 2.5 teaspoons of ground coriander, which I only have the whole, so I'll put 3 heaping teaspoons in my spice mill and give it a blitz. Coriander is a floral, citrusy spice. It'll bring a fresh feeling to the spice mix. Into our ramekin. Ignore that little mess on the counter there. Spices are done and onto the tray. I'll need 2 tablespoons of olive oil, plus an additional 1 teaspoon right before adding the spices, which remember that, it's gonna cause me some problems later. I'll need 2 tablespoons of tomato puree. I enjoy when these cans have that easy to open lid. Let's go. Well gang, I left my coriander out on the table. It's not looking so garnishy. Luckily I had some more in the fridge. I'll pick a few coriander leaves off of the stems here and I'll use the leaves for garnish, but stalks will go into our soup. This is the type of monotonous kitchen prep that will drive you a bit crazy as a professional cook. Luckily, I'm only doing 15 grams and not enough for a party of 250 people. Boom, done. The star of the show, 300 grams dried green lentils. Again, the recipe calls for a much fancier puy lentil from a specific area of France. I just couldn't find that, and it's possible you have the same issues. So let's go for something more basic and see if this works out. And onto the mise. The vegetable stock is cooled down and ready to go. I'll need 1.75 liters of stock because these lentils will cook in the soup, so it requires a bit more liquid. And this stock is nice. I think I could have taken out 2 of the carrots and went heavier on the onion and leek, but this is still good. I'll need 6 tablespoons of natural yogurt for garnish. I'll put that into a plastic piping bag and see if we can get fancy with it later when we plate this. Okay, mise is ready. A pretty simple setup today, in all honesty. Very minimal cutting if you don't include the vegetable stock. Onto my burner with a medium-sized pot here. To be safe, I would normally use a bigger pot, but I really hate the camera angle that gets me, so I'm gonna take a risk here. I'll add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Once heated, I'll go in with my onion and then my garlic here. I'll be cooking this for 6 to 7 minutes on a medium heat, stirring frequently. These are looking good, getting soft and starting to build a bit of color on them. I'll add that remaining teaspoon of olive oil and then my spices. These spices are supposed to toast for 1 to 2 minutes, but right away this is sticking to the bottom of the pot. I try to squeeze out a little bit more olive oil out of that ramekin. I think you could probably add another tablespoon and it would really help those spices toast and prevent that sticking. Quickly in with my tomatoes so I don't burn those spices at the bottom of the pot. I'll add the chili too. I'll stir this around to get those spices off the bottom and then I'll add my coriander stems. So far this is smelling really great and I'm just cooking this long enough for those tomatoes to start to break down. These tomatoes are broken down, so I want to come in with my tomato puree and I'll cook that puree for a couple minutes to try to get some of that raw tomato flavor out of it. Lentil time, and then right away with my vegetable stock. Oh, this is so close. I almost had to get a different pot. I crank up the heat so this can come to a boil. And we are at a rolling boil now. I'll crank down the heat and bring it down to a simmer and then hit a 40-minute timer. And this is halfway there. It's looking good. I thought I would see a bit more reduction in the liquid, but everything seems okay. And the 40 minutes is up. I'll give these lentils a taste to make sure they're soft. And they are, but honestly, the flavor of the soup is a bit bland. I haven't added any salt yet though, so I do have hope. Into the pot with old Sticky, my immersion blender, and I'll start blending this. If you don't have an immersion blender, you should. It's one of my favorite kitchen tools and will come in handy for winter soups. Link in the description if you want to grab one. This should be as smooth as possible, so I'm gonna blend this for some time. This consistency has come out really nice, so I think the lentil substitute is good and our stock to lentil ratio is spot on. Time for some salt and a bit of fresh cracked black pepper. I'll give it a taste and this needs more salt. When seasoning things like lentils, potatoes, and corn, they take a bit of salt to get where they need to be. All right, this is seasoned, but I don't know, still a little bland? Well, taste rating coming up. I'll go with the blue bowl here because I thought these colors would have a nice contrast. And if I'm being honest, this doesn't look like the most appetizing of dishes, is it? I'll get fancy here with my yogurt piping bag. If you don't want to do this, I'm sure a spoonful on top will do. And a bit of coriander right there on top. This does look better with that yogurt on top. This is a spoon job for sure, and wet nap from my company, Back of the Bike Tours. I'll crack open a soda water here because this is looking like a healthy meal. First bite, it's different, that's for sure. The spices and lentil flavor, everything just is a bit underwhelming. It's nice and a light feeling, but it's just okay for me. It really reminds me of a vegetarian chili. And drum roll, I'm gonna give this a 6 on the taste rating. Maybe a 7 if you're looking for something nice and healthy during the winter. This just isn't my thing. How about the pita score? I'm gonna go a 9 out of 10. This is easy to make. And I'll take a little bit off for specifically needing that pui lentil, which can be hard to find and not recommending a substitute. And maybe I think the amount of olive oil for the spices is a bit off. Is it worth it? For the first time on this channel, honestly, I don't know. I even heated this up the next day to give it a try. The book does say that the flavors taste better the next day. And honestly, it is a bit better. Those flavors have kind of melded together and those spices pop a little bit more. I don't know if I can get away with a YouTube channel that sometimes makes things that you don't want to cook or eat, but how else are we gonna know unless we try?